Hey class, welcome to MI407 Contextualization for North American Mission. I'm Professor Dustin Connor and glad to have you in the class this year. This is the spring 2019 semester, and this is a 15-week online course. And so we will follow basically the semester schedule for the on-campus classes, but everything is done online. So this is not a 7-week or 8-week online class. It is a full 15 weeks, but everything will be done online through Blackboard and through your Google Drive, okay? And I'll explain as we go. But I just want to take a quick few minutes to explain the syllabus and go over the assignments. And so if you do have your syllabus, you can pause, pull it up, and then we're just going to look through basically the assignments and the schedule, just make sure everything is clear and explain a couple of details. First of all, I do live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and so if you do try to text or call me on my cell phone number provided there, just know it is a Canadian number. You can find me through WhatsApp through that number as well, but you can also just send me an email. We can schedule a time to FaceTime, Skype, Google Hangout, something like that doesn't require data. So if you do need to get in contact with me, just know that my cell phone number, depending on your carrier and whatnot, some additional charges may apply since it is a Canadian number. I won't go through any of the course descriptions. You can read that for yourself. Course delivery and methods, of course, is an online class, like I said, so we utilize Blackboard, but there are a lot of interactive components through different assignments in the class, and just like every online class, we follow a Monday through Monday schedule, and so everything kind of opens up and is ready for you Monday morning, and then the following Monday, everything for that week is due, so you kind of get like an 8-day period almost, but while you're finishing one week, the next week it starts with a little bit of overlap. So everything is due by 11:59 p.m. on Mondays, okay? So just follow Blackboard. Everything will be laid out there for you as well. So want to look real quick at our required textbooks. You have the Bruce Ashford's Every Square Inch. I know that the Piedmont bookstore did not have this available for print, but they had it online, like an ebook version, so that's completely fine to use. Or if you go to somewhere like Amazon, I found print copies still available there as well. So you can find a print copy, just may not be able to find it through the Piedmont bookstore. And then Terry Corey's Facing the Change, that should be fairly easy to get from both the online bookstore or even Amazon. And it is a pretty large, it's pretty thick book. It'd be the main book that we go through this semester, but it's one of the first and a pretty good book on an American missiology, which not many books are written on that. There are a few more that are being written that are coming down that I've kind of heard about from some different missiologists and authors and church planters, but so far this is kind of the only one that's out there that really covers everything that I want this class to cover. And then the last one is one by Timothy Keller. This is actually a section of his larger book called Center Church, which he would call his magnum opus. It's a really long, quite thick book, but the publisher also separated it into 3 main sections and made each of those sections their own book. And so the section that deals with contextualization is the one called Loving the City, Doing Balanced Gospel-Centered Ministry in Your City, and it's all about contextualization. That's why we're using it in this class. We won't use the whole book. We're only going to use about half of the book, but it's still a good one for you to have and access and read later on if you would like. Required resources, your PIU applications such as Google Drive, Google Hangouts, Blackboard, all those normal online components, and then other resources other than the textbooks, I'll be posting, whether it's an ebook or an article or something like that, it will all be in Blackboard. You can read the course objectives on your own. You want to go straight down to the course requirements and the assignments. The first thing we do is we have a scripture reading and journaling that we do. This will go every week, and we're going through the book of 1 Corinthians. You will do a chapter a week, and there will be a Google Doc that will be shared with you. So if you open up your Google Drive folder and click the Shared With Me, you will see it accessed there. It'll have the course code MI407 Spring 2019, and it'll say 1 Corinthians Journal. And there are some details about that because it is one Google Doc that all the students in the class are sharing. So if you go and type over and delete someone else's content, it's gone. You actually have access to everyone's content. This is like a collaborative discussion board almost. But what will come out is a large document, almost like a running commentary from however many students we have in the class, all contributing and giving their input on the passage. So it's really great. Usually it ends up being about 40 to 60 pages by the time it's all said and done, depending on the number of students, of course. And so it's a really great resource that you can have and download as a PDF and keep later for a devotional study to see what you and 10 other peers have to say on the book of First Corinthians. But there are a lot of contextualization references and issues in the book of First Corinthians that we want to look at. So that's part of your journaling, just to have some scriptural insight and tie it into the content of the course. And so there will be further explanations in the Google Doc. The first page is all explaining what you need to do with it, and it has the questions you should answer, and everything else is there provided for you. And that will be due on a weekly basis. You'll do about a chapter a week. The next are the video lectures and the content evaluation. So there will be at least one video lecture each week. Sometimes there may be a second or even a third, and the length will vary. But I don't do video lectures too long. Maybe an hour. You may have an hour and a half of content at the most. But the video lectures will be either from myself or from another respected person in the field related to a topic. There will be some weeks that there are some special unique topics that there may be 2 or 3, 4 short videos that will have you watch that really pertain to that one topic that come from various places. And so just know I may not be the only voice that you hear in this semester, which is a good thing. But all the video lectures will be posted there in Blackboard for you to access. And there also will be a weekly content evaluation, most likely in the form of a quiz. And so whatever the points from the lecture, make sure you're taking good notes. Whether it's from me or from any other video, is open game for quiz questions. But there may be some weeks, though, that instead of a quiz, there may be a very short assignment that you would turn in instead. And so it could be either one. And the content evaluations will only cover the lectures, not the textbook reading. Okay, that's very important. The textbook is covered in something else, and so the quizzes you'll have each week, or whether it's a short assignment based on, it all will come from the lecture videos. Now, the textbook reading fits with the lecture video content. I match the content for the most part, so they do feed off each other and relate to each other, but you'll only be quizzed on what's on the videos. The next is the reading summary outlines. These are basically a 1 to 2 page summary of your textbook reading. So instead of having a reading quiz to just answer 5 to 10 questions based on the reading, instead of that, what I want to do is actually provide you with a tool that you can use for the rest of your life and ministry. And so as you're reading, these are 3 great books to read. There's so much good content. But what I want you to do is to do at least 1 page. It has to at least fill up 1 whole page, and it can be no more than a second page. Okay, so I don't want 3 or 4 pages. This is not a book report each week. I don't want to know your summarizing thoughts. I don't want to know your interaction with it. I know that kind of may sound a little bit harsh. I'm not looking for what you think about the textbook. What I want you to do is look at the definitions that are given in the book of keywords or key ideas. What are some main points? Is there a list? Did Tim Keller say here are the 5 things that you should do to contextualize the gospel for your culture? Okay, those 5 things, I want them listed in the description out beside them. Noteworthy quotes, key definitions, key points. Those are the type of things I want in your summary. So the point is, when you get done with your textbook reading, you have a 1 to 2 page, almost like a Cliff Notes version of the reading that you can go back to at any time and search through, instead of having to open up the book and flip through and find that definition for bicultural contextualization. You can actually flip, or if you do it in a Google Doc or a Word doc, you can search it right there and find the exact word you're looking for. So that's the idea. It actually provides you with a tool. Now, I would actually advise you to keep 1 whole document for your reading summary outline. So it may end up being 50 pages by the end of the semester between the 3 books you're reading. Of course, if you're doing 1 to 2 pages, so I guess that'd be no more than 30 pages. So anyways, but the point is that if you do 1 long document, you can keep it's your reading summary outline for contextualization. Covers 3 great books. It will give you a lot of great content you can use later, but each week you only need to submit the pages for that week. And so whenever you export, it's a Google Doc or a Word doc or Pages, they all have a function where you can export just a select number of pages. So when you're halfway through, you only need to actually upload page 15 and 16 as your 2-page document. That's the part that I want to see. Now, if that becomes too much trouble for you, you can add the whole document each week. I'll just have to scroll through. That's no problem. But I think it's really good for you to keep everything on one document, but just turn in, export as a PDF, just the 2 pages that I'm looking for that particular week, okay? So those are due on a weekly basis as well. Discussion board. Each week there will be a discussion board question or even like a small assignment that you will post your thoughts on and your answer to and your response to. And it is interaction with other students. Post is required. If you want full credit for the grade, you do need to be interacting with other students post. We want you to analyze the content, see how you're applying it to different situations. I'll be giving you some simple case studies that I want your thoughts on. As you are learning the content, exploring either the reading and the lecture videos, then the discussion board will be a place where we can take a case study or an idea or a current article on the news or some current event that's happening. Then we actually say, okay, how would we contextualize the gospel for this particular scenario? It may even be one of my favorite things to do is to analyze cultural text, such as music videos or songs or movies right now. So you can take any movie that you want to, which actually will be an assignment later in the class. You're going to take a movie and actually analyze it and break it down from a gospel contextualization framework. I know it may sound kind of tough right now, but as you go through the class, you'll understand exactly how to do that. And it'll be kind of fun because then you'll never watch a movie the same. You'll never read an article the same. You'll never look at anything produced in our society and our culture the same, because what I want to give you is a framework for learning how to analyze and exegete what's going on in the culture so that you as a gospel minister can speak the gospel into that situation, to that person, to that event, whatever it is, in a very healthy way. So your discussion board will be just a great way for us to practice what we're learning in the class and help each other out. And then your research paper and presentation. At the end of the class, there will be a research paper due. Now, the research paper is going to be 10 pages at least, and at the end of it, you're going to submit a presentation. You're going to do something like a Keynote PowerPoint or Google Slide or a Prezi, along with a recorded video. So basically, you will take your slides, you're going to create a presentation, and if you were presenting it in front of a class, standing up there, you'd have your slides behind you, and you'd be recording the video. So you can there's several different ways that you can do that. If you need help, there are many at the Piedmont through their online Blackboard team who can help you. I can send you some resources and ways to do that as well. But the idea of the presentation, which I'll give more details about later, is to just, if you're giving a 10-minute presentation on your research paper in front of a class, since we're not in front of a class, you'll be submitting a video for all of your peers to see. And also throughout the semester, you'll be placed into a research group blog, and this blog will be where you'll have about every 2 to 3 weeks you'll have a certain requirement to post. It may be post your outline to your paper, it may be post your thesis statement, maybe post your I think there are 5 different blog posts, I believe there are. And so each week what the idea is that you actually start your research early, about the 3rd week of the class. You will start selecting your topic and start working through, so that way you're not waiting until 5 days before the paper is due to think through your thesis statement. You're actually going to be working on it as we go through the semester, and you're going to have your peers through the group blog function on Blackboard. Your classmates and peers will be able to speak in and actually add some advice. You can say, yeah, I'm looking for an extra resource dealing with this issue or my topic, and then maybe another student has come across something and can send that your way. So it's actually quite interactive. The paper you will type by yourself, of course, but the help along the way, your research and even some of your writing will come from myself and from your peers. And so I think it's a really good way to write a research paper. It keeps you on a track and a schedule throughout the semester. And at the end, 10 pages are due, and that is it. And then lastly, midterm exam. There will only be one exam that you take in this class, and it will cover the content from weeks 2 to 10. So, if you look in the course schedule, weeks 2 to 10 are the heavy weeks for here's what you need to know about contextualization, and then weeks 11 through 15 are more about practical application of what you have learned. And so, you'll only be tested on weeks 2 through 10. So, there's about a midterm exam. It's going to be due in March. As you see there, there will be no final exam. Your research presentation, the video you upload, and the presentation you put together, that will basically take the place and count as your final exam. Okay, so let's look at the course schedule briefly, just so you can see. This will all be laid out in Blackboard, and so for this week, it's actually very easy. You journal 1 Corinthians 1, you complete the introduction discussion board post, which is more about where you're from, who you are, what you do, that sort of thing, and then you view this video. Okay, so if you just now, you're watching this video right now, you're a third of the way done with this week's assignment. Week 1 is very easy. Go ahead and get your books, make sure they're coming in through the mail or however they're coming to you, and get everything kind of sorted and figured out. And then week 2 is when we really start the actual content of the class, as you can see. So everything is here on the side. Now this will all be in Blackboard. Everything you see under the assignments will be listed individually in Blackboard. There will be a place for you to turn in your research, your reading summary outline, your quiz will be uploaded, the video, everything will be there in Blackboard. But if there's a week that you're trying to maybe get ahead and you want to do some, you can do your reading summary outlines ahead if you want to. You can actually see, if you go back to your syllabus, you can see everything that's due. And so Blackboard will just say everything that the syllabus is saying, and plus it will just have the places where you can turn that in. Okay, so we want to look at a lot of different things. When we were talking about contextualization, we were talking about how does the gospel fit where I am, where God has put me to minister in whatever cultural setting. Now we're also talking about this in North America, primarily the US and Canada, because this is part of the North American Church Planting degree program. And so international missionaries, they study contextualization to learn how to do gospel ministry in vastly different cultures. Well, North America has become this mosaic of multiple cultures. You can go into whatever city or town that you live in, and there are different parts of town. So churches, especially if you're starting new churches, need to look different based on where they are and who they're trying to reach. So the idea of contextualization is, how does this context determine the way we do ministry? That's the basic idea of contextualization. So in this class, we're going to talk through why is contextualization important, how can we contextualize things about culture. We want to look at the cultural landscape of North America, and then we're going to study particularly how do we exegete our culture and then engage our culture. Okay, and then after spring break, we get into a little more of the applicational part of the class, where we're going to look at the different spheres of where we are to interact with our culture. How can our disciple making be cultural, contextual? How can our church planting be contextual? Our preaching and gospel communication contextual? All those things are more of the application. So it can be a really fun class. This is probably my favorite class to teach, and I think you'll enjoy it as well. The rest of the syllabus you can look through on your own. And then at the end is your bibliography. A lot of these resources will help you. Hey, buddy.
What are you talking to?
I'm making a video for my class. Well, can you tell them hi? Can you just wave to the computer? Hi. This is my son Kirk, and so he just woke up from his nap, and he decided to come and help me record this video. So anyways, that's basically the end. The bibliography should really help you with assignments and things, especially for your research paper, so make sure you look through that. I think it's about 3 pages long or so. And then there are also some links to some really great online resources as well that will be posted in Blackboard. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or send me a text from the contact info at the top of the syllabus. And I'm looking forward to this class, and I hope that you will learn a lot about what it means to contextualize the gospel for a North American context. So we'll see you in class. Can you wave bye? Bye.